Welcome back to Cruising America. This week we're taking the Gothic Avenue Tour in Mammoth Cave National Park. We're Steve and Kathleen. We're cruising America in our 35-foot fifth wheel RV, chasing 70-degree weather year-round. If you'd like to watch our previous videos, please click the Cruising America playlist link in the description below this video. Otherwise, enjoy our current episode starting now. Mammoth Cave National Park has drawn people from all walks of life for thousands of years to its dark subterranean depths. It's located in south-central Kentucky and encompasses portions of Mammoth Cave, the longest known cave system in the world. The cave system was formerly known as the Mammoth Flint Ridge Cave System since 1972, when a connection was discovered between Mammoth Cave and the even longer system under Flint Ridge to the north. As of 2025, more than 426 miles of passageways have been surveyed, more than 1.5 times longer than the second longest cave system, Mexico's Sac-Atún underwater cave. Mammoth Cave developed in thick Mississippian-aged limestone strata, capped by a layer of sandstone, which made the system remarkably stable. Humans first entered it 4,000 years ago, and early indigenous peoples left behind tools and artifacts still studied today. The Gothic Avenue Tour at Mammoth Cave National Park has been given since cave tours first began in 1816. It takes participants to a passageway within Mammoth Cave famous for its historical graffiti and a couple of unique calcite formations. Early visitors left behind signatures, artifacts, and monuments in this area of the cave, which also features stalactites and stalagmites. This tour focuses on 1800s tourism and uses of Mammoth Cave, and is ideal for people with a high interest in history. This tour is about 2 hours and 1.7 miles long with 170 stairs, so be sure you can handle the physical side. Also, make sure you go to the bathroom before starting this tour. The Gothic Avenue Tour specifically talks about the Mammoth Cave saltpeter mining operation of the early 1800s as you pass the remnants of that mining equipment. Saltpeter, also known as potassium nitrate, is used to make a variety of products, but in the early 1800s, it was extremely important for the production of black powder. Output was ramped up once the War of 1812 started, and the mine owners made a lot of money. Remnants of the wooden vats and the pipes that once carried water between the surface and the cave floor are still standing inside Mammoth Cave. These artifacts are now more than 200 years old, all preserved due to the low temperatures and low humidity of the cave. Not too far into the main passageway of Mammoth Cave is the staircase that leads to Gothic Avenue. The entrance is known as Booth's Amphitheater, named after Edwin Booth, brother of Abraham Lincoln's murderer, John Wilkes Booth. All of the Booths were famous actors, and supposedly Edwin recited a few passages from Hamlet at the Gothic Avenue entrance when egged on by the crowd during a visit in 1876. Gothic Avenue gets its name from calcite formations that resemble Gothic architecture. However, its most interesting feature is its graffiti-covered ceilings. In the early to mid-1800s, tour guides, who were often slaves, had various ways of making money. One was to allow visitors to write their names on the ceiling of the cave. This was done by using tallow candles that created a lot of black, greasy smoke. The candles were attached to long poles, and the people writing their names did so by creating a series of black dots. The earliest signatures of the ceilings or walls, using the candle technique, are from 1811. There is supposedly a signature scratched into a rock from 1798. Rangers estimate at least 10,000 signatures in the cave. In 1888, signatures were outlawed in Mammoth Cave by a Kentucky state law. Defacing the cave now incurs a $50 fine. Guides, of course, found other ways to make money. In addition to providing tours, they were responsible for creating the tour routes and clearing the rocks along the path. As the story goes, the guides started charging visitors to take the rocks and stack them into large piles to create what became known as monuments, effectively having guests pay them to do their work. Guests could write their names or anything else on the rocks. As word spread about building monuments, groups began to come to the cave with signs already made for the occasion. There are monuments to states, cities, colleges, fraternities and sororities, and individuals, and many of these still stand today. The largest, the Kentucky Monument, reaches the ceiling. At one time, there was a monument for every state. Gothic Avenue is a rather short passageway, and towards the end is one of the most famous calcite formations, the bridal altar. There have been at least a dozen weddings held here, none in modern times. The bridal altar is a completed formation, meaning it is no longer growing. Not far from the bridal altar is an active formation that grows about 1 cubic inch every 300 to 400 years, so water is still getting into this area through cracks in the sandstone caprock. One other famous formation in Gothic Avenue is what is known as a column, a stalactite and a stalagmite that grew together. Known as the Devil's Armchair, the formation has a hole in the center that is big enough for a person to sit down. Gothic Avenue is a dead end, so tour participants eventually turn around and head back the same way they came, exiting the cave via the historic entrance. Prior to being recognized as Gothic Avenue, the cave bore a more ominous name, Haunted Chamber. This previous moniker stemmed from a misadventure in the early 1800s involving a miner named Albert, who, unfamiliar with the passage and working alone, lost his way. After collecting minerals in a branch off Gothic Avenue known as Salt's Room, located beyond today's tour turnaround, he attempted to retrace his steps but became disoriented halfway, unable to discern which way was out. Frantically navigating the passage back and forth, his anxiety heightened with each futile attempt. In a final, desperate act, he stumbled over a stone and fell to the ground, extinguishing his lantern and plunging himself into total darkness. Lost and terrified, he began praying for rescue, haunted by the belief that his predicament was a divine punishment for the sins of his past. As the hours passed without rescue, the miner, convinced of his doomed fate, began to believe he was no longer on this earth and had been transported to hell. Lying on the cave floor in total darkness, waiting for devils to consume him whole, he was unaware his fellow miners, enjoying their dinner far away, had realized his absence. A rescue party of a half-dozen men was assembled, and they eventually located the miner that evening. After this, the cave earned the name Haunted Chamber, commemorating the terrifying episode of one miner who decided to journey through the depths of the cave alone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. If you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button below, then click the bell to receive an instant message each time we publish more videos.